For the longest time, I was distracted between reps. Stressing about my low balance always took me out of my groove. That is, until DePaco added tools to help me see where my money's going, monitoring spending trends and sending tips on how to spend even smarter. I can even set my budget and organize my spending to save more, keeping my expenses down, all while keeping my rep count up. DePaco, your money, your tools. Open an account today. Learn more at depaco.com/shine.
All things Hawkeyes, your all-access pass. From courtside to the postgame. Iowa's News Now Sports presents Eye on the Hawks. Sponsored by DePaco Community Credit Union and Pin Seekers.
How many court storms have you been a part of throughout your coaching career? And what did this one mean today?
On the other end, a lot. Not one. National championships. But no, none, because usually I go the other direction because usually we were number one. So that was met with all humility. It just was about as arrogant as it gets.
King Arrogance, Ben McCollum, spitting fire in the post-game press conference. Welcome to Eye on the Hawks, sponsored by DePaco and Pin Seekers. We appreciate the help, as always, with the sponsorship, getting us in the DePaco studio. So we're going to start by teeing things up with Pin Seekers, talking about Iowa getting its signature win. First signature win of the McCollum era. First win over a ranked opponent in 2 years to the day, I think I saw somebody say.
Yeah, 2 years.
I believe it was the same, what day was that, 17th?
I don't know the exact date.
I think that might be the case.
Knowledge there.
Nevertheless, Mike Howell in the building for Iowa's signature win that they got over number 9 Nebraska on Tuesday night. Mike,
I do have the date. I wrote down in my notes.
Bring it.
February 28th, 2023.
Oh, Case and Frericks, I think, is the one who misguided me with that knowledge. Or
Fun
maybe
fact
they.
about that.
Go on.
That was 3 years ago, right?
Was it?
Did you say 2? Yeah,
I
wrote down
thought it was 2. Okay.
2023. Maybe I wrote that down, or maybe it was 24. That year they beat number 15 Indiana. That's their last ranked win. They also beat number 15 Indiana earlier in the season. So they beat number 15 Indiana twice. They're both ranked 15 at the same time.
Really?
That's what the stat reference site said. So
Was this the 23-24 season?
yes. Or no. I think it was 22-23.
Was that their last ranked win?
Yeah.
Wow. Good thing we did all this fact checking before we started.
Well, I wrote down, and now let me double check because I think I might have wrote the date wrong.
So they beat number 15 Indiana January 5th, 2000 in the 2022-23 season.
That's the season I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay, and then they beat them later that year. All right, well, we've got all our facts checked out here on Eye on the Hawks as you roll along with us. So first off, tell me about being in the building for that one, Mike. I know it might not be like going across town to Ames at Hilton Coliseum when they're knocking off number 2 Houston, but still a pretty sweet atmosphere there at Carver.
It was pretty sweet. There were a lot of Nebraska fans. I actually had one sitting to my left and right behind me.
Nice.
The one to my left wasn't talking, but the one behind me, I almost had to scoff. I did grab some video of the court storm.
Here it
posted it on our Twitter page just right after. Pretty cool scene. I did not go on the court. I kind of feel like I'm too old to do that. I was talking to my brother, Tanner, and he's like, I'm glad you didn't. We shouldn't storm the court against Nebraska. But I don't mind the kids storming the court. Doesn't matter to me. Let the kids have their fun.
Now, hang on a second. This cell phone video quality looks familiar. Is that the same video that was in Fred Hoiberg's face at the end of the game? Mike, was that you down there?
I was actually on the other side, but yeah, that. If you want to talk about that, or should we talk about the game first?
We'll get there eventually. Yes, let's talk about the game. So, obviously, not Iowa's prettiest performance of the year. I mean, it was. I don't know. I mean, what was that like too, being in the building for that? Because it seemed like just no shots were falling. I think Iowa, their last field goal of the game came with 4:57 left. Minute Sturts made a 3 just under 5 minutes, and that was their last field goal of the game. Nebraska only made 1 field goal, I think, in the final 6 minutes of the game. Seemed like it was just neither side was interested in making a basket in that one. Was it as ugly as it seemed on TV?
Yeah, it was. And, you know, at some point, someone other than Bennett Sturts is going to have to score on this. I think Cooper Koch was the only other person in double figures. Yep. And they shot 26% from 3, 33% overall from the field. That is horrendous. And Nebraska was playing, I thought both teams played decent defense. Very physical game. And, you know, there's a lot of Nebraska fans complaining about the refs benefiting Iowa, but I thought for a majority of that game, they were benefiting Nebraska. Towards the end, I will say, like, the whistle, I just think officiating in college basketball is bad, right? So you're going to have that.
Iowa got called for 4 more fouls than Nebraska did in that game.
Yeah.
So
down the stretch, though, there was potential moving screen. Nebraska got called for moving screen, iffy on rank mast. The 3-point shot that Bennett got 3 free throws on. Mm-hmm. I mean, he jumped into it, but like you can't leave your feet, right?
It's one of those fouls that like people hate when refs call it, but it's like, it's one of those strategic plays that, NBA players love to do. That was a Dirk Nowitzki move where you just kind of do a pump fake and then like jump into the guy.
You're not actually trying to make it, but
it
there's
works.
contact and it's a shot.
It works all
the
time.
An interesting, and I didn't really watch the game. There was an interesting foul call against Iowa once where I forget if it was Lawrence for Nebraska. He had his back turned to the basket. He was almost in the paint, and they called a shooting foul. And I'm like, he was not shooting. And maybe I got the angle wrong because I was in the stadium. There was another one where he was bringing I don't know if it was Lawrence, but they called an over and back. I thought, the ref was right there. He saw that. But back to Iowa offensively, because defensively I thought they played excellent. Like they shut down Pryce Sandfort, who only had 13 points.
Yeah, that stat line for those guys, Pryce Sandfort, who averages, I think, 17 a game, who's been great for them, only 13 points, just made those 2 3-pointers, of course, broke Nebraska's single-season record for 3-pointers in that game. Rank Mast, who's awesome, only 8 points against Iowa. Their defense was outstanding.
Yeah, 100%. On the offensive side, obviously, Iowa only scored 57 points. Bennett Sturts had 25. That means the rest of the team had a combined 32 points. You cannot keep winning this game. This is their first ranked win all year. It's just Cooper Koch 3 for 10 from the field. Him and Alvaro Figueres seem to be the two that need to step up. Mm-hmm. But it was an awesome win, so I don't want to damper on the spirits. Right. And the fact that they got this win against number 9 Nebraska while playing so poorly offensively, I think says something.
Yeah, and Alvaro scoring 7 off the bench. A lot of nights 7 off the bench will be okay as long as you get more out of your starters. But when you're only getting 2 from Cale Combs and 2 from Cam Maniau, it's like you need at least 6-7 more points from Alvaro Figueres off the bench. Bennett Sturts playing all 40 minutes. He's the anti-Darren Peterson. Peterson's going to play 18 minutes and get me out of here. Sturts, he's going to play all 40 if he can. I do want to put a button on the previous date versus ranked opponent discussion. 23-24 season on February 17th, they beat number 20 Wisconsin 88-86.
Oh, so I was I was looking at the previous year.
Right. So they did that. It was their last ranked win was on the same date. So Owen was right in the end. All right. So overall, do you think does this help in a way? Again, we are on a podcast, so we're going to overanalyze everything and make some bold statements here. But does this help somewhat save Iowa's season? Because after losing, especially that Maryland game, and you lost to Purdue, and you've got 4 out of your next 6 games are against ranked opponents, things are looking a lot like, boy, all of a sudden, maybe this is not a tournament team after all. But after getting that Nebraska win and actually finally having a really true big quad 1 resume-building win, is that something that helps salvage whatever is left of Iowa's season?
I think so, and I think it's too early to say they're a lock for the tournament, but I think it's trending there, just with, having a top 10 win. Although Nebraska will drop, so it's still a top 10, 10 win. Come committee time, that number will still be next when they beat them. Iowa still has 5 games left, or is it 4? No, it's 5.
5, yep.
And ESPN BPI take that with a grain of salt. Says Iowa has the 12th toughest schedule remaining in the country. Now they play, obviously, number 1 Michigan's doing a lot of weight there, is holding their own there in that stat. But they still play Ohio State, who's tricky, right? That's a top 40 net team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
And Wisconsin on the road is going to be tough this Sunday. So it does a lot for that, because now you're looking at it and you're like, okay, you have to sweep Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Penn State. Now it gives you some leeway. I think everyone's just chalking up that you're probably going to lose to Michigan at home, even though it's at home. Mm-hmm. But you never know.
Yeah.
Things happen.
And the rankings will change a little bit, because I say 4 out of your next 6 opponents are ranked. Wisconsin just lost to Ohio State, so they're going to drop out of the top 25. I don't think Ohio State.
They won't by the time they play them. They play on Sunday.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so that is still going to be a ranked opponent. Yeah, that's right. And who knows? Maybe Ohio State moves into the top 25 by the time they play them, but that might be a long shot. And so, yeah, these next 3 games feel like the ones where Iowa's tournament hopes are kind of resting on. Between the Wisconsin game, getting another one on the road is big, and you almost have to win both those games against Ohio State and Penn State because, yeah, Michigan, then at Nebraska, which if they can beat Nebraska twice this season, that would be remarkable work by them. Other than that, all you have left is to build the resume in the Big Ten tournament. So there is a lot that's going to be riding on these next 5 games for the Hawkeyes. Anything else that you picked up on kind of being in the arena for that game? It was kind of a late tip-off, so I didn't have a chance to make it down and shoot any highlights of that one. But do you still like the trend that this team is moving towards, or does it still concern you how – I don't know, maybe inconsistent they can be. One game it's the defense that looks great and the offense looks bad, and then the next game it's kind of the inverse. And so seems like we still just have consistency issues with the Hawkeyes.
I think I'd be more, less concerned if the defense didn't take that slump through those 6 games. And maybe they knew that I doubt this is the case, but they're playing teams that weren't as good. I'm talking starting with Indiana, even though they are, a potential tournament team. But then you had Rutgers, Oregon, Washington, Northwestern, and Maryland. They're teams that you don't have to, what you thought you didn't have to do a lot to get results in that. Although this is the Big Ten, and every game is going to be tough because they have Big Ten athletes there. Mm-hmm. I'd be less concerned, I guess, if the defense performed well in those games.
Yeah.
But they didn't against Nebraska. That's the last thing we saw, and I think you're right on. These next 3 games are going to tell a lot. I think there's a lot of leeway. I mean, barring an 0-5 out of these next 5 games, I think they're going to make the tournament.
And we want to thank Penn Seekers for helping us tee things off today on Eye on the Hawks. And, we're going to take a look at the schedule. This is the remaining regular season schedule. Boy, it is crazy how much one game can, flip the script or the narrative of how a team is playing, because Hawkeyes won 6 in a row, and, you kind of thought, okay, if they lose to Purdue, that's fine. But, still that Maryland loss just kind of flips everything around and makes you think so much more negatively about how they've been playing lately, just because oh man, now you lost to Maryland and Purdue, and now you got a 2-game losing streak going in Nebraska. Just that one game can really change people's perception of this team.
Not just the loss at Purdue, but the way they lost at Purdue, which is it was done by halftime, right? Or even before halftime. And here's the schedule if you're looking at it with the net rankings and the Ken Palms rankings. So obviously that Penn State game would be a horrible loss. I think any of the other losses would be fine. Obviously, you don't want to lose all 5, and depending on how you play against Michigan and at Nebraska is going to be tough. But yeah, it's trending up. Right now you have 4 wins against projected tournament teams, at least according to Joe Lenardi's last rankings, bracketology, bracket projections. Mm-hmm. He hasn't updated it. He does it Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So since the Nebraska win, he hasn't done it. Iowa's an 8 seed, but Nebraska is a projected tournament team right now. Indiana is a projected 9 seed. USC and UCLA are projected to be in the last 4 last night. Not on his website, but last night I was watching the ESPN game. Lenardi had that. So those are tournament teams right now.
Okay.
Obviously, the tournament doesn't start in a few weeks, but.
So sorry, how many Big Ten teams total does he have in?
I don't know that. I was just going off of the teams Iowa beat.
Oh, I see. Okay. But outside of Penn State left on the schedule, you have to think that all 4 of those are going to be tournament teams, almost no matter what they do down the stretch.
Double check if you want to pull up the P-scan. I've got Joe Lenardi pulled up. Let's go. Michigan. Well, let's just scroll down because he has it by conferences. He has 10 teams.
Wow. Okay. And that's
Ohio State's the first 4 out, so Ohio State is not a projected tournament team.
Wow. Okay. Anybody else in there noteworthy?
Not in the bubble area. The UCLA is the last 4 in.
USC is the last 4 by, it looks like.
Again, in this was updated on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So last night on the broadcast, they had the current update or current projections, and USC was moved to the last 4 in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They got beat by Illinois by a lot of points last night, about 25, 30 points.
That the UCLA game? Did you say that they got beat by Illinois? Oh, USC. Okay. A lot of bad times in Los Angeles for their basketball programs right now. Mick Cronin's not having a good time this season.
If you want to look what Iowa is projected, the 8 seed in Duke's region. So that'd be a tough one.
That would be a tough one. Who would they have here in the first round?
Texas.
Bracketology is so stupid in that oh man, they're in the Duke region. Oh, they're playing Texas. Means could not mean any less right now. But it is fun. I get that it's like a fun talking point, and like you get to see what an expert maybe thinks of where they're at. But people are like, oh man, they might play Texas. Here's a little Texas matchup. But yeah, it's good for a talking point.
CBS has Iowa in the
interesting
Duke bracket against UCF, who's kind of a dangerous team. They beat Texas Tech before JT Toppin got hurt.
Decent Big 12 team. They're kind of slipping right now, so who knows if UCF still has what it takes to get into the tournament. But
again, like if Iowa wins their next 3, I think who knows what their seed can go. I still think they possibly get to a 6 depending on the Big Ten tournament. So we'll see.
What would happen if they win their next 5 games and win the Big Ten tournament? Like, what is the ceiling for a seed for the Hawkeyes? Like, if they win every game until the NCAA tournament, could they get as high as?
Now you're prefacing that with like, what's the likelihood? It's 0.
I mean, I didn't say that, but the odds are incredibly not in their favor.
So 19-7 now. Add 5 wins to that. That's 24-7.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's at least a 4, right? With wins against Nebraska twice, Michigan, and that would be hold on. That would be 1, 2, 3. They'd be 6-5 in quad 1. 1, 2, 7-1 in quad 2. That's a really good resume. I mean, maybe even a 3.
Yeah.
And then you add the Big Ten tournament, you'd have at least 3 more quad 1 wins. So like that'd be 9-5. And I think I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I would have to say it's a 3 or a 4.
Yeah, if they're an 8 right now and they get that many ranked wins, it's like you've got to be able to play yourself up. You know, with how good the Big Ten is this year, you can't win the Big Ten tournament and not be. Oh, man, you got to think 3.
24 wins in the regular season.
No lower than a 4 seed. Yeah, could be a 3 seed, but that's all speculative, and that is incredibly unlikely to happen. Boy, a win over Michigan, though, would do a lot. I mean, a win against Michigan alone would jump you up at least one seed, if not more. But things are looking good for the Hawkeyes. Just, again, that one Nebraska game can change the way that this team is looked at, not just in Iowa, but around the country.
Before we get labeled as a biased podcast, we both don't think that's going to happen. You're just doing hypothetical
yes.
run, right?
Like what? Kind of just thinking about like what is Iowa's like best seed that they could possibly get if they win out. Again, I do not think that's going to happen. I would not put any money on that. Don't trust my opinion here, but just theoretically. But again, when you can beat Nebraska, hey, maybe you can beat Nebraska again. Maybe you can beat Michigan again. So we're going to move on and talk about a former Hawkeye making his return to Carver-Hawkeye Arena. The Sandfort family is awesome. Like, Peyton, always loved talking to that guy. Very nice guy. Pryce is great. I'm sure they knew what was going to happen when he returned to Carver-Hawkeye Arena, that like he was really going to get it from the fans and the student section. Do you have any personal bias against Pryce Sandfort? Were you part of the chorus of agitators against him?
1 minute. I just wanted to look this up. Iowa was a 2 seed. When Iowa was a 2 seed, their record in the regular season was 20-7.
Wow, really?
And they lost in the semis of the Big Ten tournament. That was
the COVID year, so right?
Yeah.
Okay. So adjusted, like not as many wins and stuff.
True. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
back to Pryce. I did not boo. I have a lot of. I love Pryce Sandfort as a player. I love Peyton probably more. I do think though I had nothing wrong with what was said. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, if I was in college, I probably would have chanted F.
Oh, yeah.
Pryce Sandfort is what was raining down. If you could probably hear it on the broadcast. I mean, when he touched the ball, they booed. They were chanting F Pryce Sandfort pretty much, at times during the whole game. That's just college basketball, right?
Right. What is funny though is that like, do you recall anybody really caring that much when he transferred? Like, did anybody really care that Pryce Sandfort left? I feel like everybody.
Oh, I did.
You did? You maybe thought that he was going to be like a big loss. Like, I think that a lot of people thought like, Pryce is, a decent player, but Owen Freeman, man, there's the really big loss that we're going to be missing next year.
See, I don't know about that. Maybe this is revisionist history of just the year Owens had, but the situation there, the writing was on the wall that Owen was leaving. Mm-hmm. Josh Dix probably would have left without a coaching change just because of his mother and his family situation.
And Pryce was more of a surprise.
Peyton was in the building like the day Ben was hired.
Yeah.
If you remember that. So I think there was a lot of fans that said, oh, maybe we could keep him. What I didn't know was that he grew up being a Nebraska fan, I guess.
Yeah, I was unaware of this too.
Yeah, Fred Hoiberg stan, although when he was a kid, Hoiberg wasn't the coach of Nebraska. So who knows? I mean, Obviously looking back, the way Pryce has played, he'd be a huge asset. But I remember thinking in the summer, like, he's one of the ones that if we can get him to stay, that'd be a huge get. Mm-hmm. Just because I think, and I don't know this for a fact, like who they were targeting in the portal. I'm sure Ben was targeting some higher level players that they didn't end up getting. I think Pryce would have fit in nice, though. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to rhyme.
I just didn't know if, like, most of the animosity is because he's done so well. Like, if Hawkeye fans really, like, were hurt that he left and wanted to continue the Sandfort legacy at Iowa and see him play his career out here, or if it was just because, like, man, okay, this guy's actually been really good, and he's one of the big reasons that Nebraska's been as good as they are. And, oh, man, what if he was doing this on Iowa's roster and we actually had a legitimate number 2 scoring threat behind Bennett Sturts? You know, if that's a part of the reason why they hate him so much is just because, like, boy, he would have, in hindsight, now that we see what he's done in Nebraska, now we know how much we miss him.
I think it's simpler than that. I think it's just he transferred to Nebraska, who's a rival school. Let's be honest, a lot of Iowa students, I mean, half the population's from Chicagoland. They probably don't have a lot of ties to Iowa historically. Mm-hmm. And right now, Nebraska is probably the biggest rival, at least if you're a student, just because of that Black Friday football rivalry. Mm-hmm. So I think that plays a lot into it, too. Yeah. Like, if you transfer to a rival school, I guarantee if you interview students and ask them who's Iowa's biggest sports rival, they wouldn't say Minnesota. A lot of them probably wouldn't say Wisconsin. I bet they'd say Iowa State or Nebraska.
Yeah. It does seem like that's the case, and it seems like every sport is building into that. Like women's basketball, it seems like Iowa-Nebraska rivalry has really ramped up the last few years because of the game a couple years ago when Caitlin went over there and Nebraska beat her when she was getting close to the scoring record. Like everything has really laid into being a rivalry across all sports, and Iowa has had the upper hand in that rivalry in the last handful of years. It seems like. Did we have a chance to hear from McCollum talking about Pryce?
He wasn't asked, but yeah, I got a soundbite from him and Fred Hoiberg talking about it, talking about Pryce in general. But Ben opened up his comments after his initial comment. He talked about Pryce.
I see.
You know, one thing I do want to make sure that people understand is Peyton and Pryce. Peyton, you know, obviously played here 4 years. He's a former player. He's a Hawkeye. The Sandfort family means a lot to us, Pryce included, even though he left, obviously, but it was because of a coaching change, so it's totally understandable. He played great. He's having a great season. The Sandfort family and all of them are very, very welcome here and certainly appreciate everything that they've done.
You know, that's such an emotional game for him, you know, with the chants going on during the warm-ups and everything, and you just got to do everything you can to block it out. And, you know, obviously he was the guy that they really keyed on out there and got up underneath him. You know, he's an all-league player. He's having an unbelievable season for us. And, you know, kid's got an incredible future. He's one of the greatest kids I've ever coached. You know, he's just all about the right things, never has any distractions. You know, he's a 4.0 student. He just does everything right. So, you know, I'm proud of him for how he handled everything in a tough environment, in a tough game to have to come back and play.
Boy, something that just came to mind is that yesterday I got an email from the Associated Press. So, you know, most of our duties throughout the year is just obviously voting for the top 25 each week. But we got an email that's kind of the ballot that's due in a few weeks, or well, I guess about 2 weeks from today. The ballot for the all Big Ten team we get a chance to vote on. And again, before the season, you wouldn't have thought it, but Pryce Sandfort all of a sudden is a name that, like, could this be a first team all Big Ten type of player? You know, they kind of want in the ballot, they want a first team and a second team that, like, legitimately could be on the floor together. So they want, like, you know, 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center, basically, which is kind of hard just because centers are kind of a dwindling position in college basketball overall. Like, we just don't have a lot of true centers anymore. But 2 guards makes it look very difficult, especially in the Big Ten right now when you have, like, obviously, Braden Smith is, you know, one of the front runners for National Player of the Year. Even you've got Nick
Wagler.
Yeah, of course, Wagler. You've got Nick Martinelli, who's averaging 22 points a game, one of the country's leading scorers. Jeremy Fears from Michigan State has been great. I mean, even Bennett Sturts is in the conversation for being a first-team All-Big Ten. Like, guard play in the Big Ten is awesome. I'm not saying that Pryce Sandfort's going to get my vote for a first-team or second-team All-Big Ten, but he sure is in the conversation.
Remind me, is the Big Ten All Big Ten team, is it 5 slots or is it 10? Some conferences have 10 slots on their first team.
It was 5 slots.
Okay.
5
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Although
so
I guess when you're adding so many teams and there's 18 teams, it's like it becomes very hard to be on those teams.
Yeah. So we have the all Big Ten team, and then we also have a ballot for Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, and there's another one for like basically transfer.
6-man.
That probably too, but also like transfer of the year basically. Gosh, is there anybody freshman of the year other than Wagler at Illinois? That dude's so good.
There probably is. I'm blanking right now.
Oh man, he seems like he's got to be. And I was talking to Kason Frericks, our meteorologist, who is a huge Illinois fan. I was like, "Did you guys know about this Wagler guy?" And he was like, "No, nobody coming into the year really knew that he was going to be as good as he was." But man, he's been outstanding for them. Well, at the end of that soundbite, we did get a chance to hear from Fred Hoiberg. That was after the incident that happened on court. Has kind of been blown up the last couple of days between the Iowa and Nebraska fan bases about an Iowa fan slipping onto the court into the handshake line and getting what did he say to Hoiberg when he got in his head? Nice win, jackass, or something like that. And then
now I can't mark our podcast clean.
Jackass is okay, isn't it?
I don't know.
It probably is. It's a name of a donkey. It's an anatomical term. But he jumps into the line, puts his hand in his face. Hoiberg slaps the phone away. And then goes on and carries on with his post-game press conference. We heard from the University of Iowa on Wednesday, just issuing an apology, basically saying our security protocols were breached. He slipped in the handshake line. We apologize for the incident and want to make sure we have a safe environment moving forward. Haven't heard anything from Nebraska about it, have we? Hoiberg hasn't mentioned anything, has he?
No, and I think I listened to someone that said by the time he came there, no one knew about it. The press didn't know about it because I honestly, when I first saw it, Mitch Fick and I, our anchor and our co-host during football season, we thought it was AI.
It looks AI weirdly.
It looks like AI. But I haven't seen anything. If Fred talked about it, I don't know about it. But I've been seeing some hot takes going around. Look, the guy shouldn't have been on the court. It was a court storming, though. He shouldn't have put his phone up to his face. But at the same time, I'm not going to fault Fred Hoiberg for smacking the phone. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think anything has to come out of this, right? It's just shouldn't have happened. That's crappy. But, it's also a compliment to your program that you're court storm worthy, I guess.
I see some Iowa fans that were like, oh, Fred Hoiberg just assaulted a Hawkeye fan. I'm like,
I think those are
okay, give me a break.
Those are doing it for the bit, I think. I hope, because I think the fan laughed. He wasn't actually mad.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. File that lawsuit. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Do you, I don't know, if you were to say one party is more at fault than the other, who would you say it might be?
Oh, the fan.
Okay.
Fan doesn't belong there. And, court stormings, field stormings, they're different scenarios. But Fred belonged on the court because he was the coach. He was in the handshake line.
Right.
Don't get in his face.
I have a tendency to agree. Yes, I think that obviously I don't think anybody faults Hoiberg for just being get the hell out of here. But a person in our newsroom who will go nameless said that he thinks that Hoiberg carries more responsibility there, just because he's
because of salary.
Yes, because he's he's the professional there. He gets paid all these dollars and it's in his contract, and he's got to carry himself better than that. I'm like, I guess. I mean, that's not totally untrue, but it's still, it's not like he did anything wrong. He just, he slapped a phone away from his face.
Name this person.
Yeah. I will name him off the air, because I don't want to dox him.
Yeah, I guess. But you just lost a heated a rivalry game in a close manner. I'm not going to fault someone that much.
Yeah.
And there's no suspension needed or anything like that.
Especially, and it does become different if there were anything more there. If he shoved the kid or something or pushed his face out of the way or something, then it's different. But the only bodily contact would have been fingers grazing his hand as he smacked the phone or something. So it does not need to be a big deal on either end. I mean, Iowa fans are stupid if they think that, oh, he's assaulting him. And Nebraska fans are stupid if they're like, this is an unsafe environment. They've got to make sure that who knows what, they could bring a weapon on the court next time. That's equally idiotic, I think. Court stormings happen. Things are going to happen there. It's not great. This is why there is discussions about, do we need to stop court storming in general? I don't know how that's possible, but can we stop them in general, or is this just kind of part of the drill when you're in college athletics?
It is, and apparently a couple weeks ago when UNC beat Duke, one of the Duke staffers got punched allegedly. I don't think I haven't seen any video of that, but things can happen, but I don't think it needs to be a huge deal.
Yeah, and Iowa talked about their security trying to do this and that, and it's like even still, like security just can't do anything once the guys are coming down on the court. It's like they can come from anywhere. It's not like there are barriers up that are stopping somebody from running on the court. You've got 20 security people out there, and you've got 400 students who are trying to run on the court. Like, what are they going to do to stop somebody from running into the handshake line? Like, there's just not much that can be done about it. So what are you going to do?
I do have one last hot take on this court storming.
Bring the heat.
It has nothing to do with right or wrong.
Okay.
I was very disappointed in the Carver-Hawkeye Arena staff or whoever. They were pumping in this loud dance music while the kids stormed, and it delayed the Hawkeye Victory Polka from being played by the band for like 2 minutes.
Really?
And I love hearing that on my way out of the stadium.
I see.
They should have played that. It would have sounded a lot better than doon, doon, doon. You know what I mean?
Sandstorm? Was that where they were playing, or what was
they were
going on?
playing.
Oh, that's too bad. So did you get a chance to hear the polka before you left, or did you get out of there?
Yeah, they played it eventually.
Okay, there you go.
The band was sitting there patient. I bet they were like, come on. We're supposed to play right when the game gets over.
All is made right when the polka is played. All right, well, I think we've covered enough of the men's basketball team for the week. Let's move on to the Hawkeye women's team with a couple of nice wins recently, Washington and Nebraska. Again, a couple of games that you needed badly to win. Just a week ago, we were talking about like how much of a downward slide this team was on after losing a few games in a row. Season wasn't quite on the brink, but it was the point where it's like, all right, this is still a tournament team, but can this still be a team that hosts, which is what every team is hoping for at this point in the year, that you can play yourself into a position where you can be a host site for the NCAA tournament. And Iowa now, after wins over a ranked Washington team, and Nebraska, a month ago, it looks like a nice win. They've really played horribly late in the season. Britt Prince is not what she was early in the year. So still a nice win. I don't know what quad-wise that win still equates as, but, it's still a good Big Ten win for them to beat a Nebraska team like that.
Yeah, let me check. Look, let's see. They are, I don't have the Nebraska one pulled up. I think it's a 2. Because it's it's a road game, right? It's probably
it was a
quad one
road game. Yeah, I'm losing track of my Iowa-Nebraska matchups now and what was played where.
Road. So, yes, the quad 1 win on a road was 1-45. Women's net ranking. No, but it was, to me, like, they figured out how to play without Taylor McCabe, right? Is that what these last 2 games you've gathered is the solution, or the big takeaway from both games?
I got to think so, and that's because of the other Taylor who has been inserted into the lineup. Like, all of a sudden, you've got Taylor Strimlow in there, and she's been awesome these last couple games. Like, Ava Hayden has been fantastic, but Strimlow, let me look at her game-by-game stats. Her last 2 games, she scored 17 points against Nebraska and 9 points against Washington. 3 of 4 on 3-pointers against Nebraska. Like, she does seem to be the X factor right now that has brought it to this team, like, that was missing over those 3 losses, and that was missing when Taylor McCabe left the lineup. Like, Taylor Strimlow seems to be that crucial factor that's helped. I don't know, that might be what catapults this team into a decent postseason run.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because she was coming off the bench for most of the season, and she's one of the team captains. Mm-hmm. And as a sophomore, that's rare in itself. As a bench sophomore, that's pretty rare. But I get the vibe that most girls respect her. She seems no nonsense, when she's out there. Mm-hmm. And it really has been what this team needed. And, after that 3-game, or was it a 3-game? Mm-hmm. 3-game losing streak. You're just wondering, are the wheels coming off the wagon? Mm-hmm. But to get these back-to-back wins against ranked Washington, and granted, I think both Washington and Nebraska have kind of reverse course from their, haven't been playing well in recent weeks. Mm-hmm. But it's still, you have to win these games. And the women are different than the men, where they have kind of an easier schedule on the back end, as opposed to the men who have kind of a tough stretch of games. There's one ranked team left, Michigan, correct, if we pull the schedule up. But Purdue, Wisconsin, while they're better than they have been in the past, they're still teams you should beat. I'll throw Illinois in there too, but they they could beat you. Illinois could.
Yeah. Purdue is a team that I saw is without their leading scorer, I believe, for this game against Iowa. They just had her out, so that certainly helps Iowa's cause going up against Purdue. Michigan, looks like a game that Iowa's going to be fortunate if they get a chance to beat Michigan on their home floor. Winnable game, certainly. You don't want to count Iowa out just because they do, even without a player like Taylor McCabe out there, there is no reason that they can't beat a team like Michigan. But
how big will the Carver aspect of that be? Will it be against for the men in Nebraska? We didn't mention the crowd, but the crowd was awesome. Other than the swearing at Pryce Sandfort, can that lift Iowa up to a major win? And that would almost certainly secure hosting in the NCAA tournament and a double bye in the Big Ten.
So you're asking what?
How the factor of the crowd this Sunday? Or do they play Sunday?
The 22nd is a. Let's bring up the calendar. 22nd is a Sunday. Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So, I think that that seems like. I don't think that they're going to have a problem filling the crowd for a game like that. It seems like the men's team is the one that still has to work to fill a game out more than the women's team does. People are going to show up to a women's game, it seems like, no matter what. And so especially when you've got a top 10 team like Michigan coming to town, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think that contrary to the men, as we were talking about, what their best seed potential is right now, it's a pretty clear path for the women towards a host site for the NCAA tournament. I think that almost no matter what, you look at these 3 games left, I think if you win 3 of these 4 final games, you're pretty good. You're in pretty good shape. I mean, as long as you don't lose the first round of the Big Ten tournament, I think that you're in pretty solid shape, winning 3 of your last 4 regular season games and just winning 1 game of the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I don't even know if even if you lose that first game, you might still get a 4 seed.
Sure. Because in that scenario, they'd be
23-6.
They'd be automatically in the quarterfinals, right?
Correct. I was doing some number crunching. Are you familiar with this website? If you want to pull my screen up again, I think a Cyclone fan created this. It's MRed's tiebreaker thing.
Okay.
Or tiebreaker scenario. So I mean, it might be hard to see, but you have all these power conferences. They have all the games here. Mm-hmm. This is Iowa finishing. Let me make sure I have this correct. Okay, 1, losing Michigan. I had them losing Illinois, and I don't think this is going to be the case, and then losing at Wisconsin, and they're still the 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, in the Big Ten tournament.
Ohio State has a really tough schedule.
Okay.
They play Michigan State. They play I almost said Ohio State plays Ohio State. They play Michigan, and they play at USC. So in those 3 games, this site is predicting they go 1-2. Mm-hmm. So if they go 1-2, Iowa go 1-3, they'd still be 4th.
And we got to say too, because right now,
unless Washington wins out
in this scenario, they have Minnesota as a 3 seed. Minnesota has turned into a team that we did not expect to see that coming. I mean, a couple weeks ago that looked like, oh man, they lost to Minnesota. What a rough loss. But hey, that's a good team. They just knocked off Ohio State last night. That's a pretty dang good Minnesota team they've got up there. So could be.
Yeah, they beat Ohio State pretty good a few days ago, and yeah, you're right. But the tiebreaker with Ohio State is going to come in huge. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of scenarios where Iowa goes 2-2 and they still are the 4 seed. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to go to the 3 seed to avoid UCLA on Saturday, then you're going to have to look at winning out. I mean, Iowa could still finish 2nd theoretically if they win out. That's a win over Michigan. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And you got to say, I mean, anything's possible in the Big Ten tournament because. Now, this team does have a Taylor Strimle in the starting lineup, and they're looking a lot better than they were a couple weeks ago when they made the West Coast trip. This is a team that is maybe finding its footing right now late in the season. We hope with 4 games left on the schedule. We had a chance to hear from Jan Jensen after their last couple wins, so we'll get a chance to hear from Jan about what she saw of this team as they are looking like they get back on track late in the season.
Anytime you have a little bit of a skid, no matter who you get it against or how you get a win, it's just huge because so many things can get in your head and you can lose your way, and especially in the world of which we live in with so much outside noise. I think the biggest thing that most coaches face, I think at this level, but certainly probably any level, is just trying to keep your kids in the lane. because we live in such an absolute, it's either all good or it's all bad. And it's hard. It can be hard to navigate. But I think, our players stayed the course, and we understood we were reforming. No excuse with the fact that Taylor went down, but learning what that was going to look like, and understanding how great this Big Ten is. And I thought they did a pretty good job of staying steady, and played really solid defense in both those games against Washington and Nebraska. And that's one thing I thought. You can always really play pretty solid defense, and if the other team just hits shots and just makes really difficult shots, I mean, then it's their night. But I thought we got back to playing better, much better, focused, urgent, intense defense.
All right, so we're going to take a look right now at what the Big Ten standings are shaping out to be. So we have 6 ranked Big Ten teams at the moment. Washington would have just dropped out of the top 20. Oh, 7.
Maryland's still ranked.
Maryland's still in there. And Washington has spent time ranked this year. So it's UCLA, Michigan, Iowa, Minnesota, Ohio State, Michigan State, and then Washington, Maryland. Gosh, how many Big Ten teams could be host sites for the Big Ten tournament? Like UCLA seems like a lock. Michigan probably going to be a host. Iowa on the cusp. Ohio State could be. Maryland could be. If Minnesota keeps playing as well as they've been playing recently, Minnesota could be like you're looking at as many as possibly 6 Big Ten teams as host sites. That's
how many host teams are there?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just all depends on, there's probably going to be a lot of SEC ones too. Mm-hmm. That's what it matters. I guess that's what I'm saying is like what conference will have the most, right? Mm-hmm. And then will all these Big Ten teams be good enough to jump them, Mm-hmm. But I haven't really looked at that much. But looking at these current standings, Iowa has a really good chance at finishing second in the conference, which would be an excellent, I think,
if you're looking at that preseason, you'd take that 10 times out of 10. Finishing second in the conference, I know the people who were making the projections wouldn't have seen it coming. I believe that they, again, were not predicted to finish in the top 5 of the Big Ten. Again, we don't get a full list of who's ranked where in the Big Ten in the preseason polls, but I know that they were not top 5. So if you're finishing second behind a team like UCLA, who has a chance to win a national championship this year, that's pretty good company you're in. And then we don't even mention, teams that are probably going to make the NCAA tournament, like USC, probably going to get in there. Illinois, good chance to get in. Oregon, solid chance of getting into the tournament as well. Not a solid chance exactly, but they could play their way in. So Big Ten, again, one of the best conferences in women's college basketball this season. Right now, as I look at the stat leaders for the Hawkeye women, I see, it's kind of it's a problem that the Hawkeye men would love to have. They've got 3 players right now who are averaging double figures in Ava Hayden, Hannah Stolke, and Chit Chat Wright. That's what the Hawkeye men would love to have. They'd love to see somebody outside of Bennett Sturts finally start to average in double figures or pick up a second consistently leading scorer. Seems like just every week Ava Hayden impresses me personally more and more. Just recently she was one of the late season candidates for the I forget either the Naismith or the Wooden Award, one of the two. I mean, she's on both watch lists for both of them, but late season top 30. So it's she's getting a lot of national recognition for being, at least according to that list, one of the top 30 women's college basketball players this year. Again, we saw what Hayden could do late last season, and I think we thought, yes, she's got a nice upward trajectory right now, but to say that she's one of the top 30 women's basketball players in the country right now, I think that too is maybe outshooting the coverage of what we thought early in the season, or at least is matching it, or you're happy with the progress that she's seen.
Yeah, so overperforming, just overperforming the standings as well.
I'd say a bit at least, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not exceptionally. It's not. I mean, she's not going to be a finalist for the Wooden or the Naismith or anything, but top 30 is that's pretty good for where she's at as a sophomore.
100%, and yeah, she's so young. It's funny how we talk about college athletes being young when they're a sophomore, and then once a few months go by in the summer and they're a junior, it's wow, they're experienced. I always thought that was so funny.
Career's flying right by.
Yeah, I know that's hilarious. I will say though, and if I'm being negative Nancy on this women's team,
okay,
and it's not I guess you could say it's negative. I guess I'm concerned. Are you concerned about the depth on with the injury? with Emily Rodriguez. I don't really want to talk about that, but I'm just noting that she's been out for most of the season with Taylor McCabe injury. And here's the other two I'll put. So the rotation's what, about eight girls?
So let's count here. We got Hayden, Stolke.
9 if you count Kelly.
Hayden.
She's getting first half minutes.
That's true. They're putting her in there. Hayden, Stolke, Chit Chat, Stremlo, Deal, Houston, Feuerbach. And then would you say, I mean, I'd almost say 7. You know, you could throw Layla Hayes and Callie Levine in there.
I add Layla Hayes because if Ava Hayden's in foul trouble, she's going in no matter what.
Sure, that's true.
But that goes to my point. The inconsistencies of an Addie Deal and Layla Hayes, who hasn't played well since Big Ten season,
basically,
basically, that gives you what, 6 players you rely on, or 7? That makes me a little concerned, right?
Right.
Like, but again, your 3-headed monster of Hannah Stolke, Ava Hayden, and Chit Chat, like that's going to power your team.
That's a top 3 that can get you to a Sweet 16. Yeah. That's not a top 3 that's going to get you to a Final Four probably 100%. Unless they like play their absolute best and just go crazy. But that's like, all right, if you can rely on those 2 and they play their best, they can be a Sweet 16 lineup.
Now I'm totally thinking like, okay, hey, Layla Hayes, this is a transitional year. She's probably not used to playing so many bigs when, she played in Alaska where there's probably not a lot of tall girls that played. I think I heard that anecdote on the on a broadcast.
Anecdote,
yeah. Thanks for correcting me.
It had to be done.
But I'm not counting on Eddie Deal. Like, even though she's only scored 13 total points since Ohio State in 5 games, the Ohio State game where she scored 20 points, I think we could have a resurgence, just that she's so talented.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, there's a chance that she, again, picks it up late in the season, gets her confidence back coming off the bench, and we see her evolve as a 6th player again, kind of like what we've seen the last couple of years with Ava Hayden and with Sydney
Falter?
Yes, Sydney Falter. I'm like, Sydney Feuerbach? That's not right. A couple of years ago. I don't know why her name was not slipping off my tongue. So that is – I think that you've got 7 players that you can rely on for minutes, and you've got 2 that you're like, all right, if we need some bodies in there, yes, you've got Layla Hayes and Callie Levine, but the rest is like you don't know what you're getting if you're putting it out there. And I brought this up on our last episode, and I really do – I don't know if this has been asked of Jan, but I would like to maybe ask her about, like, what's with Tegan Mullaney, and why have we seen such a regression in her minutes and I
can answer the minutes question.
Okay.
She hasn't played well. She
in the time that she's been on the court, you mean?
The minutes she got after, like immediately after, I thought she played very poorly.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to see her again on the court.
Is it defense? Is it bad shots or what?
Mostly in the offense. I think she shot. I mean, I don't have the stats up to me, but she probably made 1 or 2 shots, and she maybe shot 12. So it's like. I don't need that on the court if you're trying to win Big Ten games.
Yeah, it is just surprising again because
the regression in her play.
Right.
I don't know what that if that's injury related. That's unfortunate. If there's something else, who knows?
Yeah. Just looking at her numbers, I mean, when I look from freshman to sophomore season. Last year she played 30 games as a true freshman. This year she's only played 11 games. So, I mean, she's not even going to get to half the amount of games that she played as a freshman. Points-wise, last year she averaged 3 points a game. This year, 0.9 points a game. She's 1 for 14 on three-pointers this year. Last year was, I mean, her percentage wasn't great, 22%, but she still made 13 three-pointers on the season. Just rebounds are down, assists are down. Like, everything is down. Basically because she doesn't play any meaningful minutes, of course. But I just am curious what happened there. If it was like some off-season injury issues, I don't think it's any sort of character issues. Certainly nothing at all like that. But I just wonder if like it dates back to the concussion she suffered in last year's postseason, or if there's been some injury issues this season, or what. Did you have a theory, Mike?
Oh no, it could be like a lack of confidence after that injury, and just maybe. It took her a while to get back. Since I know she played 7 minutes against USC and 7 against UCLA. Now, the team wasn't playing very good either, so maybe I was being a little too harsh on her, but she shot 0 for 6, and it seemed like she was trying hard to get in the rhythm when she was in. Like, 4 shots in 7 minutes against USC, that's like almost a shot per minute, So, like, I do think she was trying to find her shot, trying to bust out of that rhythm, but it just wasn't coming. So I don't know if she needed, if she needs more minutes to get through it. But at that point in the season, you couldn't use minutes on trying to break out of a slump, because you're in this fight to try and get a double bye in a hosting site. So hopefully she can come back next off season with no injury, and maybe she'll get more minutes then.
Yeah. When we get to the offseason and we start talking about, do we see some players leave, who's going to be on the team next year, she's one that I do wonder if we see her in a Hawkeye uniform next year, or if her career trajectory is, if she'd have sit down with Jan and say, maybe, you'd be better off, going somewhere like a UNI or a Drake or something like that.
Well, because last year, I do think we talked about on this podcast, I did think she played well in a lot of games, and I thought she had a lot of promise. Maybe it's just a sophomore slump, and that's what we chalk it up to.
Could be. Yeah, I'll be curious to maybe pick some other brains on that when we get a chance going forward. So, but the year is winding to a close with the women's basketball team. If we don't mind bringing up the schedule again, I just want to take one more look at the schedule for the women's team, just because it is a startling contrast to see, how quickly we're coming to an end. So we've only got four games left in the regular season: Purdue, Michigan, Illinois, and then Wisconsin on March 1st is our last game of the regular season. Senior Day is February 26th. Gosh, that's just...
It's actually the 22nd. They're celebrating Senior Day against Michigan for some reason.
Okay. I wonder if they just always like to have it on a weekend, maybe, do it on a Sunday versus a weekday.
That could be it.
Interesting.
Okay. I thought that was weird, too.
Yeah, maybe they want to bring a little bit more energy to the arena. I don't know. Maybe that's what factors into it.
It would be weird, though. They do the ceremony after the game, so if they lose, everyone will be bummed.
Yeah. So final regular season home game is February 26th, just a week from this recording. As recorded on Thursday, February 19th, and then after that is Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis. Women are Indianapolis, right? Men are Chicago. Yeah. And then we could see them back in Carver-Hawkeye Arena for the NCAA tournament if things go well down the stretch. But we will discuss that in the coming weeks as we close out the season. Mike's got one more thing.
Need to plug something. We are going to do a live podcast, live show at Pin Seekers on March 17th. It's Tuesday, St. Patty's Day, at 7 p.m. A lot of the details are getting worked out right now, but we're excited, and I just wanted to throw it out there. I'll probably throw this clip on social, tag them. Hopefully people come out and enjoy a show. It'll be a March Madness themed show because we'll get the bracket a couple days before, and right afterwards you can hit some balls in one of their suites or watch the first four. It's going to be on at the good games are always on at 8:40. So right when we wrap up, there'll be a good game. Hopefully Iowa's not playing in it.
Yeah. Yes. Play a little. What do they have? Some duck pin bowling over there, I think.
Yeah, they do. They have that too. They have this cool sports simulator. I don't know exactly what it's called too, but you can football, basketball. You can kick a soccer ball and it will track your speed and stuff. It's in the back. My buddy had one there for his birthday, so it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool.
Quick question I just thought of is back to men's basketball. Might throw this in social. Would you rather, if you're an Iowa fan, I know you're not technically, but would you rather Iowa be an 11 seed and have to play in the first four, or be an 8 seed and have to play a number 1 seed if they win? Let me change this, because obviously you'd have to play one more extra game. Let's do a straight up 11 seed.
Yeah.
They don't have to play in the first four.
I see.
So they have to play a 6 seed.
Yeah. So would I rather be an 11 seed or an 8 seed? I would rather be an 11 seed, I think.
Because tougher games up front on the first round, so you have a higher chance of losing in the first round. Mm-hmm. But if you make it past that game,
the road opens up a little bit more. Yeah.
Well, you still have to play a 3 seed, but
Yeah. If you're a Hawkeye team that is eyeballing a Sweet 16 appearance for the first time since '99, is that the year? 98, 99? Then I think that you would want that 11 seed to be like, all right, well, at least we don't have to play Duke in the second round.
All right.
Would you agree, or what would you say?
I think so. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is totally random, and I meant to ask it earlier when we were talking about the men's basketball team. But Iowa's right now bracketology is 8-9, and I think again they'd have to do a lot to get to that 6 seed, but you don't want to start losing games and drop to an 11.
Right.
It's such a weird spot to be in.
I'll even answer it as a UNI fan. If UNI were in the tournament, would I rather them be even a 9 seed or an 11 seed? And I'm like, I might, rather an 11 seed, just because all right, we have to play a 6 the first round, but a 6 is a beatable team. And then you've got, who does...
6 plays the 3.
Okay, so you're playing a 16 in the first round, and then it'd be a 3 in the next round. Yeah, it's like that too. Easier path to the Sweet 16 than having to play a 1 seed. So yeah, I think that's maybe what you're hoping for if you're in that position. But 7 seed is really where it's at. It's a sweet
Think
spot.
so?
I mean, 7's a good spot. Yeah, you got to play 2 seed in the next round, but
The Iowa men haven't had luck in the 7 seed.
that's true.
They lost to Tennessee. They almost beat in like 18 or 17 or 16. I can't remember which year. They lost to Gonzaga in a blowout. They lost to wasn't UConn. Blanking on the other one.
It is funny to think about, like, if you're not a 1, 2, or 3 seed, what is the best seed to have? Like
4.
I guess, but it's like even the 4 would technically have to play the 1 earlier than a 5, right?
No, the 4 and 5 play each other in the Sweet 16.
The 4 and 5 play each other in the Sweet 16. Oh, okay.
So a 6 would probably be.
Yeah. There's just tricky mathematical dynamics when you're wanting an NCAA tournament spot. But, yes, back to the Pin Seekers live show that we're going to be doing out there. I mean, it is meant to be in front of an audience. So, happy to have everybody come out that possible. I don't know what the seating capacity is for how many people we can fit in there for a live broadcast, but we're looking forward to getting a chance to be out there for a live show with fans with us and hopefully have some guests on the show. And, I don't know, I'm okay with it being, maybe a Q&A type situation where it's like, I love hearing questions from the fans, like on what they want to know. So I'm hoping we can maybe add in that element as well. Where they can
we'll have to work on that.
Too.
It is going to be a live YouTube feed, so I don't know if we'll have a microphone. So I don't think we can take questions from fans.
Are you worried about Nutcase coming up there and asking a question?
No, I'm worried about the YouTube audience not being able to hear the question.
Ah, that's true.
More of an audio thing.
Yeah, gotcha. But anyway, so keep that in mind for February 17th on that Tuesday night after the brackets are revealed. The Sunday before that. Again, thanks for watching Eye on the Hawks. You can follow us on the social medias, on YouTube and Spotify, and wherever you find your podcasts. We'll have Hawkeye content with weekly interviews and highlights of the games we get a chance to go to on YouTube as well. So continue following us as we keep you updated for the last handful of weeks of the season. So thanks for joining us. For Mike and Erica, I'm Owen. We'll see you next time.
For the longest time, I was distracted between reps. Stressing about my low balance always took me out of my groove. That is, until DePaco added tools to help me see where my money's going, monitoring spending trends and sending tips on how to spend even smarter. I can even set my budget and organize my spending to save more, keeping my expenses down, all while keeping my rep count up. DePaco, your money, your tools. Open an account today. Learn more at depaco.com/shine.